Well, we are live in New York City. It's GMFB, and it is January 16th. Kay Adams here with Dave Burleson and Peter Schrager and Kyle Brandt. Are people voting for the poll, guys?
Yeah, I think they are.
Who are you rooting for to win the Super Bowl? Head on over to @GMFB. Who are you rooting for to win the thing? The Pats, the Jags, the Eagles, or the Vikings? Is it Tom or Blake or Nick or Case?
I'm still trying to vote for Garoppolo.
We're doing that on Twitter all day today. We have the results later on in the show, so go vote, because if you want us talking about your squad, we listen to Twitter. So head on over and vote for that poll. Right now, it is time for the... Well done. After a wild throwdown round, 32 teams narrowed down to just 4. So let's see how the Championship Sunday squads stack up against one another with another round of Name That Team. Here's how it works. I give everybody a category here. You guys grab a paddle and hold up the team. Which of the 4? Can't believe we're only down to 4. Our PAs are so happy they don't have to cut out those logos anymore. Which category best responds to which team? So the GOAT, Tom Brady. He's reached his 7th straight AFC title game. But what about the other 3 quarterbacks, guys? Let's take Tom Brady off the table like we took Stephon Diggs out of the plays of the week. Which conference championship team has the best non-Brady quarterback?
Ooh-wee.
I'll go with this one.
Okay.
Process of elimination. Nick Foles, he played fine, but the game-winning drive was on the defense. He was out there. Blake Bortles is a walking enigma week to week. I know this guy can go down the field in a huge, huge moment in a playoff game and win. I've seen him do it. Miracle aside, I know Case Keenum to do it. It's pretty close, actually, I think, especially between him and Foles, but I will go Case because I've already known he can do it.
I'm going to go with Case Keenum as well. Troy Aikman said something very interesting on the broadcast. He said they asked Mike Zimmer about it. He said, I don't know if Case is the greatest quarterback in the world, but he's got a horseshoe. And that horseshoe right now is working. And that was before the Diggs miracle pass. So, Kay, you mentioned the Adam Thielen reception last segment.
I tried to, yeah.
I think that was an even greater exhibit of they just lost the lead 21-20, and everyone's counting them out. And here comes Case Keenum and he led them down the field and got them in position to set up that field goal. So I believe Case Keenum has done it now, not once, but twice has led them on big scoring drives in the fourth quarter. I believe it.
You guys know I'm a huge fan of Nick Foles, and I'm a huge fan of Case Keenum, as we all have been all year. But you guys were saying something. You said, I know that Case Keenum could take his team down the field in the playoffs and make the big play. Do you remember Blake Bortles going down the field to Keelan Cole? Do you remember that play?
Yeah.
Do you remember the play action over the top to Tommy Bohannon? Do you remember that play? Do you remember the fact that Blake Bortles went 14 for 26, 1 TD, 0 interceptions? Before that touchdown, Stephon Diggs, Case Keenum had 1 interception and no TDs. So, as much as I love Case, we're not talking about the fact that Blake Bortles is playing the right way at the right time, and he's surrounded by the right defense. So, as much as I can talk about these other quarterbacks, and it really is a toss-up, if this young man right here plays above average, his team looks like a superstar team. So playing the right way right now, I'm going with Blake Bortles.
How should I be looking at this, guy? Should I be looking at it as who's not going to throw the game away or who's going to step up and make a play? How do you look at it in the AFC,
I think personally,
NFC Championship
all
game?
3 quarterbacks coming into last week's, that was the feeling, right? Like, don't kill us. Let our defense.
Yeah.
And I think all 3 quarterbacks played the best games of their career.
They all stepped up big.
Like, Foles was money. He was,
especially in the second half.
But Keenum looked great early, but then threw an interception that could have, it was an awful play.
It was a Brett Favre-ian pass. It got out of control, and then he immediately bounced back, and Keenum played well the rest of the way. It was one bad pass, and Bortles might have outplayed Ben Roethlisberger on Sunday.
I've said it for months about Bortles. I got to see if he can do it on the 3rd and long in the playoffs. He did. What he hasn't done, which Case Keenum has, if Blake Bortles is down 5 with a minute left and he's on his own 70, or he's on his own 30-yard line, let's go 70 yards. Has he done that? Has he done the drive?
But in this game, though, the pressure started to build because the Steelers were making this march, and we're thinking, oh, here we go. Blake's going to turn it over.
Hand off 3 times. No.
And he looked great in the fourth quarter. I'm going with Blake.
All right, moving on here. Some of the top regular season defenses are still alive in the playoffs. Which championship team of these 4 has the best defense right now? That is a really ridiculously tough question, guys. Name that team.
I'm going to go with these guys. Some really, really good choices, but again, I'll do process of elimination. I just saw the Vikings defense in their own stadium give up what should have been a game-winning drive to Drew Brees, okay? It's just facts. I saw the Jacksonville Jaguars defense give up 42 points. I saw these guys give up 10 to Julio and Devontae and the reigning MVP, and they'll be playing at home this weekend. So I like all of these defenses, including the Patriots, but I'm going to go with Philly.
I'll go with the New England Patriots.
It's a great choice.
It's the same thing we talk about every single season. We'll compliment this offense. And then by the time we get to the Super Bowl, we'll start talking about how their defense is top 5 and they're playing well on every level. And what they did to Mariota, who at this point was the most athletic quarterback left in the postseason, after tasting blood in their mouth like Bruce Lee and saying, you got to score a touchdown. And then for 3 quarters, just beat up on that Titans offense. Yeah, with the fist of fury. I'm going with the New England Patriots. That defense, routinely, every single season annually, they never get respect they deserve on the defense side of the ball.
They never sack guys, and they sack Mariota, who's elusive 8 times.
8 times. Yeah. I'm going to go with the Eagles as well, Kyle. Okay. And I'm going to say that this past game, you look at the score, 15-10, well, they give up 10 points. Well, no, really, there was a fumble involved early, and then there was a muff punt. Maybe they shut out the Falcons, who are coming in as one of the hottest offenses in the league. It's not just the front 7. We know we love Fletcher Cox, and we love Chris Long, and we love all the guys, Jernigan and the rest. That defensive backfield played better than they have all season last week. I'm watching Rodney McLeod come off from the safety spot, make a huge play. I'm watching Jalen Mills shut down Julio Jones in some big spots. The Eagles defense coming to play, and they've got a player number 55 who I've never heard of before, a captain, Brandon Graham, who is leading the way, and I got to say, I like the Eagles defense.
Is this some sort of like
42 points.
Well,
what are we doing here?
Without Antonio Brown being an alien and leaving Earth in perfect coverage versus Boye, that's 14 points, right? That's a 14-point swing. So you can't take it off the board because it was a touchdown score, 2 touchdown score. But I still have faith in that Jaguars defense. I still feel like they're one of the best in the postseason.
You said they're going to have to play their best game ever.
Yeah.
IQ-wise and physically to beat Tom Brady IQ-wise, right?
It's a big part of it.
All right, next, all these squads feeling some pressure right about now. Only one more win to make it to Minnesota, to Super Bowl 52. Which conference champ is under the most pressure? Which team? It's one of my favorite questions to ask, because we always take it from different angles. Really?
Yeah, I think the Jags are under no pressure whatsoever. It's incredible. They go to Foxborough and lose okay. Philadelphia, they lost their MVP quarterback. That's how that story will be written. And Minnesota's playing on the road against a very good team. If these guys lose at home, the story will be written years from now that Tom Brady lost to Blake Bortles in Foxborough in the title game, and that's what kept him from trying to win a 6th Super Bowl ring. Absolutely the Patriots, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
I'm going to go with the Vikings, actually. I feel like the most pressure because these fans are now hopeful and optimistic when they've always been such pessimistic fans in the big spot. They just win this game. First time in 57 years that the thing goes their way. And now we're one game away, just one game away. Give us a home Super Bowl where you can enjoy 2 weeks of build-up and pageantry before taking on the Jaguars or the Patriots. The Vikings, you're one game away, but oh my God, is that a tough game going into Philly? It's not easy. So I'm going to say they're under the most pressure because the fans want it so badly.
I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars for the simple fact that the narrative is gone that, you know what, gee golly, we're just happy to be here. We're happy to be competitive. I was listening to Telvin Smith after the game, and he said, you know, we're one game away. And he was so serious. And in that moment, I looked in his eyes and I realized these guys aren't concerned about being patted on the back. These guys, they want to go in and make it to the Super Bowl. And what I do know about teams like this, as good as you are, as young as you are, as athletic as you are, you can get so close at such a young age and never get there again. So the pressure is on. Who knows what's going to happen at the quarterback position if they go out there and lay an egg. And then the surrounding pieces. What happens to good teams? Guys start to leave and go search out big contracts. So 2 years from now, this Jacksonville Jaguars could look completely different.
I like your thought on the Patriots because out of all of those teams, they're the one that were expected to be there from the beginning. You have the Vikings doing what they're doing with their 3rd-string quarterback. But with the Vikings, it's almost like when you ask a girl out over and over and over again, she says no and she breaks your heart every step of the way. Then she says yes, but then stands you up. You know what I mean? Like they broke all the you know what I'm saying? Like if they were to lose, it would be that thing you do autobiographical. You know what I'm saying? Like they finally broke the curse, and the Gary Anderson and the Blair Walsh, all of that's gone. They're on a high finally after thinking that they were cursed with like, you know, burial ground, whatever drama curses around it with the salts and stuff. If they lose now, it'll be like they're on such a high. I would not want to see them fall from that. Like that's pressure.
True. And then how about the rub of the salt in the wound there? Then the Super Bowl's in your hometown, and they're like,
and you're close.
The Himalayan salt. It's crazy.
Is it really Himalayan salt?
Himalayan salt.
Yeah, I read about that.
I got to do a deeper dive on that. All right, finally, let's wrap up with a tough one here. Which team has the best single playmaker?
Oh, I got this guy. I have number 87 on the New England Patriots. Now that Antonio Brown is out, I think he's the best player in the field. I think he's number 1.
Yeah.
And this is pretty fascinating how the Jacksonville Jags are going to handle him. I truly do. That's true. We've seen some interesting things like, is it going to be Ramsey on him or Boye? I mean, we've seen Trey White with Buffalo give him a lot of problems. Or is it going to be Miles Jack, who's crazy athletic and fast and bigger? I have no idea how they're going to defend him. I just know they better try because he is the best playmaker of these 4 teams right here, Rob Gronkowski.
We're talking playoffs, and over the last 2 playoff games, my choice has 18 receptions, 5 touchdowns, 40 rushing yards, and a 2-point conversion. James White is the
Mr.
best
Playoffs. I like it.
playmaker right now. This guy dominated the Super Bowl with all what he did, and then last week had another huge game.
That's true.
He's averaging 9 catches his last 2 playoff games. He's a little running back in a backfield full of them, but I think James White is the guy who could break anyone's heart.
I'm going right here. I'm going with Telvin Smith, the linebacker. My man had
I like it.
16 tackles. 14 of those were solo. Do you know what solo means? By yourself. It means he took down a grown man by himself, not to mention a 50-yard return. This is one of the more underappreciated linebackers in the game. He can get everywhere. North to south, sideline to sideline, and on top of that, when he gets the ball in his hands, he turns into a running back. Just check out this highlight. If he was running another 100 yards, nobody would catch him. So I'm going with Telvin Smith. I got you 10 toes down. I got you.
No love for the best playmaker so far in the playoffs?
Diggs?
Yeah.
Diggs is good.
I almost went
biggest
Thielen.
playmaker.
I almost went
Really?
Thielen. Yeah, he's so consistent, man.
I like your James White. I like your Gronk. Most touchdowns of any tight end in the postseason. But I think Deion Lewis, because he does what both of them do, and he can run and he can catch. So it looks like the Patriots have 3 big playmakers on their squad.